Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of My Favorite Product. We have an exciting one today. We're talking about music and rock and roll and all that good stuff. Something a little different, which I'm looking forward to. And we have Adam Aronson here to join us. Hey, Adam.
Hey, John, nice to be together with you and happy to be talking about music and products.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it and hearing about the overlap there. So can't wait. And I even for this very special occasion, I was looking for a concert t-shirt to wear. And the best I could do is my homemade, kids made it, proud to be a Swiftie Taylor Swift t-shirt. So I was trying to be festive here for our topic.
Amazing. I have a 10-year-old who would love to go to a Taylor Swift concert. Unfortunately, she's left out Canada this time around. It's an almost world tour, in our opinion.
Yeah, so there's a plug in itself, right? Taylor, go to Canada. There's a bunch of fans there, including Adam's daughter.
Precisely.
Love it. All right. So, Adam, would you mind just giving a quick intro around your background and product?
Yeah, gladly. Kind of grew up a competitive chess player, and as I was finding my way, came across just the awesome role of product management and ultimately product leadership of getting to be at the center of all of the challenges around business, around user needs, around serving different markets. I've had the pleasure of working in education technology for a while, public libraries, very recently with investor relations, and love seeing the way that this product maker toolkit applies to so many different problems to get to solve and kind of always working towards those optimizations.
Great. Great. That's interesting background and love hearing it. So I told you this before we started, but I've been urging folks to show up here and talk about an app that they don't use at work, but maybe use in their personal lives, and feel like you have one today. Do you want to talk a little about the product you love and why you love it?
Yeah, gladly. So the guitar over my shoulder was a hand-me-down from a friend during the pandemic. And when we all thought we were going to become the best versions of ourselves, I thought now might be the time to learn the guitar. I had attempted in high school. I was taking some lessons, and like so many aspiring musicians, I fell down at the "so you actually have to practice" part of it. And what struck me different this time is that I had been seeing kind of self-paced online learning with musical instruments, which was a great thing for the pandemic. The pandemic, introduced so many like, what can I do on my own, or what can I do within my family and my bubbles kind of circumstances. So I was looking around, and I can't go back to the exact decision on how I landed on the Fender Play app, but I was poking around and came across Fender Play. I recognized the brand very well. It's a storied history brand, the Stratocaster, Jimi Hendrix, and the upside down left-handed, and the various pieces of great music history lore.
Yeah.
And so I understood that a little bit, and then started playing with it, downloaded the app, free trial, started messing around with it, and I really liked that. 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, start picking up a little bit of the basics of the skills of it. And I was able to go on my own. I did take a pause. I let the trial expire, and then they started soliciting me, and they're like, what if we gave it to you half off for a year? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a bargain. So, the normal pricing is maybe $60 a year. And I was thinking, like, if I was to take private lessons, I was easily in for a lesson. And here I would get 12 months of amazing content.
Oh, that's great. So that sounded like the brand really mattered to you. There was an element of trust, I guess, or brand recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely aspired to be able to play like a gorgeous Fender and make it sound gorgeously myself. Yeah, it's a Yamaha guitar. I kind of know the ecosystem. I didn't like do an exhaustive search of different apps, and saw that this one I thought could take me on the journey that I wanted to go on to learn.
That's great. Yeah, we talked a little bit over email before hitting record here, and we have very similar paths, especially in the with guitar as a hobby. I think it was probably during the pandemic I found Musician and started with them. And I'm always interested in, because I'm not the best student, and there'll be times where I drop off and then don't come back for a couple months to practice, which yeah, I need to do a better job of. But I'm always interested in how they can kind of hook me and keep me engaged with the app and on that learning path. I'm curious, in your experiences with Fender, do you feel like there's that gamification element? Are they doing a decent job pulling you back into the app to keep practicing?
Yeah, I would say that they do it in a light way. They
Mhm.
definitely have the idea of streaks.
Yeah,
So when you log into the desktop app, you can see the number day incrementing. I think my longest streak might have been 9 days or 10 days of getting in and trying to do, just trying to do 5 to 10 minutes a day. I think it's
yeah,
what, 21 days, 23 days to build a habit. And so I've been trying to work up towards that, where to have non, uh, let's say, worthless decompression, aka social media, not getting a lot of gain and value for it, and thinking that guitar practice would be a good place to do this. So I spent a little bit of time in the app. Most of it was in the web application on my desktop, so that I could sit, good posture, kind of instead of like more craning downwards and trying to figure it out. So that might be one challenge about the app. Maybe in a stand or so forth. But there were a few emails that were coming along trying to encourage me to come back into the application. And I think, one of the things that I really liked about the app from the outset was it asked, what kind of music do I like to listen to? What is it that I'd like to play? So they have the whole catalog, and I chose folk. I'm a big like indie rock, folk music, Americana listener, and to be able to play that, I will never play in a jam band. That's not my goal, but if I can move in that direction a little bit, I would love
sure.
to be able to just pick up a guitar and go at it, play a few riffs, and maybe even improvise a little bit. And so the content that was coming back my way to invite me back was of things that I already like. It's the stuff that I might have been listening to that week in the car, and they're saying, come and learn some bars of this song. And that's like, oh, okay, well, let me get back to practicing so that I can get at the goal that I'm interested, right? So it's not only the guitar, but it was also that it was very personalized. And so it was almost even a softer invitation that way.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Anything else you really like about the app you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I worked in education technology for a while,
Mm,
and we focused a tremendous amount around the science of learning and instruction and the benefits of engagement and so forth. And so being a learner in this instance, seeing that the lessons were stepwise built out so that I could go from nothing, from scratch, to the essentials and start building up. What is the beginning of learning the fingers and the muscle memory? What's the notes and the strings and the chords and the so forth, and how it starts to kind of scaffold together. And so the lessons were really nicely designed content. It was beautifully filmed. They're bringing in artists of all different parts of the musical spectrum. And you're kind of sitting in their living room, they're sitting in your living room. And it was a very overall comfortable experience. In addition to being able to be self-paced, it felt comfortable and familiar. The typical structure was some content, a practice session, and then as I got a little bit further on in the application, I think it may also be a new feature. I have noticed that they've changed the sequencing and they've changed some of the options there. There's now a beta feature in there where you give mic permission and microphone, and it listens as you play a practice session, and then it grades you immediately. And it'll say, you were on tempo this much, you hit the right notes this much. And so it would give me relatively precise feedback that a coach or a guitar teacher may, but I can do it at 11 o'clock at night when it's quiet and the house is settled and I'm able to, focus and have some time for myself. So that sort of convenience, as well as the depth and the quality of the feedback, is incredibly engaging to me, to be able to keep going through the lessons and try to get some response. One of the concerns that I've had all along is my hand in the right position? Am I developing bad habits as I go along? So I don't know if that might be a spot to say, like, go to this local music shop and sit down with them for 15 or 30 minutes and they'll check your progress for you and like give you some pointers. And so, I don't know what those Fender Play to real world connection points might be able to be. But I've been comfortable moving in the right direction and getting that amount of feedback. So the features have been helpful in that learning journey.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I've never been an ed tech, so you're the expert here. But I imagine, developing bad habits, especially when you're early on in the learning curve, can be really detrimental, right, to the overall process. So when you talk about filling in the gaps with having a, real life instructor, in-person instructor, is that something they have today, or is that something maybe you wish they would augment to their service?
It's likely that I haven't gotten far along to find out,
Yeah.
far enough along, but as I was thinking about the app and kind of exploring around and see what it is, they do have some live tutorial stuff where there's a couple people dialoguing and you get to play along as they go, as well as to get inspired. I think a big part of the learning journey is engagement. I didn't really get into this too much in the last point that I was making. But for example, one company I worked with focused on hip hop education. And by bringing hip hop music into the classroom and getting the students engaged, listening to the new learning material, talking about Pythagorean theorem or metamorphic rock in rhyme and in rap and in a very like culturally engaging way, the student becomes hooked and then does a bunch of other activities in a more engaged fashion. So likewise, the fact that I'm on this kind of folk journey, the music that they're exposing me to, like I was practicing a Kinks song. This was a Sunday afternoon the other day. I'm kind of going through it, and then it's like, oh wait, I should go back and listen to some of the other Kinks music. And so it becomes this really nice, organic and expansive experience because that relevance and that engagement is there. So that's been a really fun part of the journey as well.
Yeah, and I should ask you, I don't get to ask this every episode. Do you have a favorite song do you like to play? Or are you not there yet? And we didn't skip this one.
I'm not there. If I could, spur the moment name one song, it would be Two Step by Dave Matthews Band. Like to be able to just go through the song, but to riff and to jam at different points in it would be pretty epic.
It's a great song. I love that one. Cool. So you mentioned a couple things that maybe the Fender team could add. Anything else you might say to the product team if they were listening, where they can make their app even better? Or did we cover most of it?
We covered a lot of it. So there's one thing about the app that annoys me. I was going back the other day and I was like, oh, I think I renewed once, and so I paid for 2 years of the app. And as I was looking at my billing history, it turns out that I had actually paid for 3 years, which is a good indication of kind of how heads down I was in my work and my world. And it reminded me a bunch of the gym model, right? Like you need to focus on signups and then leave it to people to forget that they've got the subscription and the till just keeps spinning. I'm a very direct and transparent and product maker, and I want people to feel value for what they're getting. I don't want to just keep earning money because somebody forgot that they had something. I
Yeah.
won't go
Yeah.
so far as to say that that's a dark pattern, but I feel like they should announce that the subscription is going to renew, or iPhone in the ecosystem should give me the option to say, anytime a subscription is going to renew, I want a 1 week or a 1 month notice so that I have the option to act on it. So I wasn't happy with Fender about that one, but I understand the commercial realities of product making and why some people tend not to announce that a renewal is coming up. The one other thing was their site broke at one point. I couldn't log into the application. So I had gone through the reset cycle a few times and the error messages were screwy. And so I wrote into the support team and they wrote back and they said, you know, we're having an incident right now. We know what's going on. Try back later tonight or tomorrow. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity because they knew I was on the list of people that were irritated with this incident. That was the time that I wanted to go in and practice. And I don't want to carve out the time to go and play and practice and say, okay, oh no, they're still not working. They're still not working. That felt like an opportunity, even though it's predominantly a self-serve application, right? I can download it, I can subscribe, I can do everything without ever having, this is the first time I had to interact with them. And they were like, you go and figure out when our issue is solved so that you can keep doing what you want. That felt like a moment where they could have been like, we will let you know when this
Yeah.
is fixed so that you can keep going on your journey. So it's little things like that. But the tech is coming along. I think some of that stuff we were riffing about earlier about, you know, could there be a community of players? Could there be like create a coffee shop hang with people that are in your area, opt in, or could there be a tie-in to a local instructor or something like that? I don't know. There could be some cool stuff that would get me kind of out of my house and into a community of players. I think that's kind of where some of the magic really starts to happen in music, is when multiple people get together and you're talking about songs and you're showing on form, and you know someone's a flamenco and someone loves rock, and all of a sudden you start riffing and it's amazing. I saw
Yeah,
this.
it's more learning too, right? I mean, you're learning from others, you might be teaching others, and then if you can somehow loop that back into the app somehow, I don't know if you're posting some of the jam sessions you've had or something, or just meeting people through the app, then I think you're right. It becomes a real strong platform versus this one-to-one kind of learning model that's there today. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really big into communities of learners. I think it's what helps us as professionals. It's what helps us as hobbyists. I think the ability to sit here and learn and to go really far in this musical journey independently, I think is terrific. But I think there always will be limitations to how far I may be able to go independently.
Yeah.
And then by making that more of a communal experience, probably can, you know, learn more, become more passionate about it, and also just wear an even bigger smile.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, you've covered a lot of this, and you know, the next question I'm going to ask you, again, I think you've touched on, maybe this is more of a summary, or maybe you have something else, but how has the Fender Play app helped your product thinking, or you as a product leader? How has it changed some of your thinking potentially? Or
Yeah,
moving forward?
I appreciate that life and learning are very much a non-linear journey. And so I was kind of hearkening back to some of the ed tech experiences that I had, and then the content specific thing that's in this hobby. And I think it was a really nice experience that solidified a bunch of other experiences that, or is further solidified by those past experiences that I have
Yep.
in my appreciation and enjoyment of the product. I think it made me see and feel really good about what it is that they had put together and that I was consuming. As I was thinking about like, what would I do better about it? I think as far as the jobs that Fender Play is trying to do, they're doing a really great job of it. There's some invitation out to getting into Fender, and you can buy equipment and they give you discounts and, you know, try to put you on that path. So I haven't had a ton of experience around omni-channel, but to take this sort of storied physical brand that sold originally through music shops and distributors and everything else, and then went online, you know, sometime long ago, but to now add this new learning that can then create the next generation of musicians and tie back to that storied brand and to the shopping experience, I think makes for a really interesting journey. So, you know, I think in my product work, I've often thought, you know, what can we do to create goodwill? What can we do to create ambassadors? What's the hook? If the thing is maybe not the most engaging subject or content, but is there a way to personalize this? Fender needs to do very little work, right? Like, yeah, they gave me the option of genre, and I are, you know, I think Spotify told me I listened to like 55,000 songs a year last year, right? Like, I love music, I'm in music all the time, and so they've got that hook. And then I was browsing around for new guitars. I need to make sure that I can play this one before I go and upgrade, but
I have the same rule.
The full cycle out of me yet.
That's great. Cool. Well, Adam, this has been awesome. There's part of me that would hope you'd go and join the Fender team or start your own app like this and create that community you're talking about, because I would surely be a customer at a very premium level, because I think that would enhance the experience of learning music. But yeah, thanks for sharing insights, not only around the app that you like, but around your product experience and how you think about product management. Really appreciate you being here. I know you're really involved too in the product community. Anything you wanted to plug today?
Yeah, gladly. So about a year back, I joined the Toronto Product Management Association as a board member, and we're coming up on the start of our new season for events in September. We're back to in-person, which has been fantastic for community building. I'm still a relative newcomer to Toronto in the last 5 years. So it's been wonderful to meet practitioners and build that affinity, that community of learning, like I was mentioning earlier.
Sure.
So tpma.ca, great way for anybody, whether you're in Toronto, Canada, or the broader product management community. Would love to have everybody participating and learning together.
Yeah, I know there's some awesome product folks over there. I know a couple of them myself. And Adam, can't thank you enough. This has been great. Again, Taylor Swift, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you are, right? You got to get up to Canada, at least Toronto, and we'll wrap it up here. Thanks again, Adam. Appreciate it.
Gladly. We're gonna have to start working on our duet.
Love it. I'm in.
Brilliant.
Bye.